Hey there. I should probably start saying welcome or welcome back, because if this is a welcome back, then I should say that this video is going to be a little bit of a departure from the ones I've done so far. I'm going to talk about dolls I collected before American Girl because there are quite a few I think that have sort of led up to me collecting American Girl. And I'm starting with Courtney and Claudie on camera. They'll be here the whole time because she was the first, her collection was the first thing I started collecting in American Girl, and Claudie was the first doll I ever got, and then her world was quickly evolved from there. But before I got to American Girl, I collected so many dolls. I've been collecting dolls my whole life, and I would say the biggest line of dolls that I collected were Disney, and I ran the gamut from Pixar toys to Disney princess dolls, and I got really deep into the luxury line of Disney princess dolls with their 17-inch limited edition and their 12-inch designer dolls, which I think, that was already a precursor to collecting the American Girl luxury dolls. So I'll show you, if you're not familiar with the 17-inch doll, the limited edition. This is the Tiana doll. She's the only one I have left. I used to have, if I almost had 100 of these at one point. I mean, it felt like that because they're so big and they took up so much room. And at one point in my collecting life, my Disney collecting life, I decided I couldn't keep collecting all the princesses. And so for many reasons, I realized Tiana was my favorite princess, so let me just focus on her. And so I quickly, well, not quickly, but I, throughout time, sold off all the other limited edition Disney dolls I had and just focused on her. And now I have, this is one room, my American Girl room, and then my other room, my bedroom, is my Tiana museum, which I will show one day in the sort of near future. It's just I have so many videos to get to before then. And when I was focusing on Tiana, I had a lot of her 12-inch dolls that I wanted to start expanding on, like modernizing and putting in different, just not just her being Disney princess Tiana all the time, but like her being like a modern Tiana. And I started dressing her in Integrity Toys clothes, not collecting the dolls yet, just putting her in it. And that eventually snowballed. I'm just going to put Tiana away because she's limited edition. I don't want her to exposed to too many elements for too long. So I eventually got into collecting Integrity Toys dolls, which are going to be a lot harder to see because they're so little compared to American Girl. And I'm just going to show a couple of my, at one point, because these are a really expensive doll. So it's like, I went from collecting sort of playline Disney princess dolls to their limited edition dolls. I was lucky to get into it in the beginning when they weren't quite so hot on the secondary market, so I could afford the ones that were in store, and I didn't have to chase too many. Tiana was the second one from the series, so yeah, I was lucky to get in pretty early. So when it came time to buying the Integrity Toys dolls, I had some currency in doll collecting. I was able to sell off some of the really expensive limited edition Disney dolls and invest it toward Integrity Toys, which are unbelievably expensive. Even at retail price, they're upwards of 200 US. And they're just little like 12-inch vinyl dolls. They come with all these really tiny like accessories and jewelry and really intricate clothing. It's all zippers and hooks. So it's a lot of work maintaining an Integrity Toys collection, but they're beautiful. You put them up on your shelf, and before you know it, you have hundreds. And I think at the most I had probably close to 400 of these. Like, so this room that I live in now used to be, when I first moved in here a few years ago, it was Integrity Toys. But it did start to get monotonous because of the little, like, dealing with all these little earrings and these little rings. And it's like, you go to move them and you're like, where did that ring go that she had? And you're looking for this little tiny piece of metal that either your room sucked it up or your vacuum got it, or it's stuck in another doll's clothing. So there was some monotony, especially with the limited side of collecting Integrity Toys. Again, very beautiful, such detailed, beautiful fabrics, top quality. So they would create this hype by making really, really limited edition dolls. And I think I got a little bit of burnout from that because, for a long time I was very lucky with my Integrity Toys collection, getting everything I needed. And sometimes I would get it, and then it would be like I had to work so hard to to get it that I would be like exhausted after, like, was it worth it? So I think I started feeling the burnout a few years ago, and there was what I considered a sort of playline kiddish version of Integrity Toys, because Integrity Toys, they would make these like 12-inch or 1/6 scale versions of runway fashion. And so there was another line of dolls that started doing that. I think it was in 2020, 2021, 2020, I think, when Rainbow High hit the scene. And as soon as I saw them, I was like, don't look, you do have no room to collect any more dolls. So I was just trying to focus on, just sticking with Integrity Toys. And I have I have nieces, and one of them, when Rainbow High was, starting to pick up its momentum, I thought, okay, I can get her Rainbow High dolls, and I'll have them in my possession until it's her birthday or Christmas or whatever I'm buying it for, if I'm just getting it for fun. And then she and I can play with her dolls together. So that's how that was the slippery slope that I got on for Rainbow High, was putting, just getting them for my little niece, who um, I would, bring them over. She would open them up, and I would bring two over so we could play together. And I would be taking the doll that I was going to play with, setting it up, getting it all pretty on a stand, and making its hair look all nice, and its outfit and accessories put together nicely. And I'd look over, and her doll would have one shoe on, its hair's already up in like a frizz ball, it's missing half its outfit, and I'm just like, what did you do in these 5 minutes that I was setting up this doll to look so pretty? And because she was young, she was probably like 7 or 8. And so then when she would start playing with doll with me, like playing dolls, she wanted them to fight. Like, she wanted them to, like, these were wrestling dolls. So I was just like, okay, I can't live vicariously through my niece when I like to see my dolls like pretty on a shelf. And so I got a little heavy into it. It was like, so my doll room that I'm in right now became like half Integrity Toys, and I made a little section for Rainbow High. And before I knew it, um, I must have had most of them, and some of them I had doubles of. So I'm just going to show you like some of my favorites that I've since moved on from Rainbow High, but there are some that I just couldn't let go of. And sorry, this is Amaya. She was my favorite of the core girls, even though she wasn't of the original 6. She was still in the show, which I watched every week. She was still in the core girl group. So even though Poppy was my favorite color, I didn't take to her the way I did to Amaya. But then Michelle was a beautiful shade of orange, so I really took to the doll. And I didn't really get to know her on the show. And so I think that's why Mira was my favorite when she came out for Series 4. I liked her enough that if you can see, I put Swarovski all over her dress, and I gave her a bindi with a Swarovski and a little navel jewel. So these are the dolls that I couldn't part with. Oh, and another one, because this was just a really cute doll, that I also got this one for my niece. This was one of the ones that within minutes of having her, the hair was like out. Like, there was no salvaging that doll once she got through playing with it for 5 minutes. And I got so into them that I started doing customs, because within the Rainbow High world, there was a lot of discussion about how the dolls didn't really have like different textures of hair for, I think mostly for the black characters, or maybe even other POC characters. And I was like, you know what, that's true. I think I would like to see a doll with curly hair, like Afro puffs or something. So I got an extra Phaedra, and I want to bring her a little bit closer because she turned out really cute. So this is what I started doing. This is how deep I got into the Rainbow High collecting for a while. It was like I didn't just have, one of each character and doubles of some. I was starting to customize others. And I didn't want to just customize the one I have. I still wanted to have the canon character, because I had the play sets too. This is where it's all coming back to American Girl. Putting these dolls in the pool set and the house and the car, there was something about that really just made me light up as a collector, and I was really missing that with my Integrity Toys, because you could put them in a little scene on the shelf, but that was it. There was no diorama. There was no real character going on. It was just supermodels modeling, which is pretty. It was nice to look at, but I really missed I was like feeling a void of not having enough of a display or a play element. I don't play it, like, for me, playing is putting them in a pose. and a little tableau, and then just enjoying it for all time. And another doll I did was, I don't know if you're able to make it out, but so I micro braided her hair. This is Crystal with the articulated neck. She's from series 2. And I literally took 3 strands of hair, like 3 hair plugs, and made a braid out of every 3 hair plugs in her head. And it was like I would just watch a show or something and do this in the background without even really thinking about it, because I even though it doesn't look like it when I've tried to braid on camera before, I'm pretty good at braiding, especially doing little micro braids like this. And I just gave her some braided curls around her head. I'm just trying to show you some of my customs because even though it's been a couple years, I still love them. I'm so proud of them, and I don't know how else to show them off. And I have one more custom, which is Robin. So she's another one. I had 2 of her. I got one just to customize so I can give her curly hair. And it would just be like the regular boil perm, just following a tutorial, using straws. Oh, no, I use pipe cleaner on them, wrapping their hair around pipe cleaner, putting it in boiling water, letting it dry overnight, and then after it sets, pulling it out. Sorry, pulling out the pipe cleaner. And I actually kept a lot more rainbow high dolls than I realized. But I don't display them. I just don't think I can get rid of them. So it's like, I don't know, one day I'm probably going to, 5 years from now, be like, okay, I really can get rid of these now. But looking at them even in this, for the sake of this video, I'm like, maybe I can figure out how to keep them. So this was one of the doll lines that I was able to sort of bond with my youngest niece over, because she's almost 11, which I think she might be one of the older kids playing with dolls in her school. And it's like, does she really like dolls, or is it my fault? Is she just doing it to play with me? Am I just like a bad influence on her? I'm clearing the way because the real like foray into 18-inch doll collecting was when Disney released their Illy Forever line. The first wave didn't have any Tiana dolls. For anybody who doesn't know, the Disney Illy dolls are supposed to look like child dolls, 18-inch child dolls that either are cosplaying as their favorite Disney princess or they just like to dress like them. So to this day, they still haven't done one of Tiana. They've released packs like a pajama gift set pack and a little cooking set, but they've never done a doll yet who's in her outfit. But I was going to wait. As soon as they released that, I started looking for ways that I can make my own Disney Illy Forever Tiana. And I did so by buying the Elsa doll, who was the black doll in the first wave. And so I got online trying to figure out how I could, what 18-inch doll clothes I could find that would fit her, and I could make them into look like Tiana fan clothes. And obviously that was a big exposure point for American Girl, because I think this is McKenna's top under here. I didn't know what it was at the time, and I still don't know what this jacket is. I know it's American Girl. It's got the label and everything like that, but I think I removed the tag because I put on, this is like, if you can see, it's a crown that's supposed to look like the Frog Prince's crown. That's, I had a jacket that I bought from Disney Store that had all these other parts on it, like this patch over here. Where is it? Patch here and the crown. So I was determined to make her look like a Disney Illy Forever Tiana fan cosplayer. And these are off-brand shoes. She's now wearing Mary Ellen's Halloween costume skirt, but for the longest time I had her wearing just a pair of off-brand jeans. And I was originally going to put her in this 18-inch doll dress that I don't even know I don't know what Little Adventures is, but I had bought it. I was looking around for 18-inch dolls and before she came out, and I had looked at American Girl because they were 18-inch dolls, and I just didn't see any that could really be Tiana in my collection. So this was another option when she came. I was like, oh, somebody can finally go in this dress that I've had for like 2 or 3 years now. But by the time I got her, I got a better dress, which I've talked about in other videos, so I'm not gonna mention it again here. And the problem at that point was I had her being Disney Illy Forever Tiana. So I started looking for other 18-inch dolls that I thought would make a good Tiana in her dress. I could like put her hair up in a bun, and I came across this doll called Zoe from a line called Healthy Roots. And I just fell in love with her face. I thought this is a really beautiful sculpt. There aren't many dolls, especially the 18-inch dolls, because uh, they're still kind of like if you look at the Tiana doll, she's got these big cartoon eyes that don't look like a little girl at all. And then if you look, especially when you're not into American Girl, if you look at the shape of their faces, it's almost like not princessy enough. So it's like you got one extreme over there and then one extreme over here, where these just. But I felt like this is a really good balance. However, when I got her in stock, when I was sorry, not in stock, when I got her in hand, I realized I couldn't put her hair up in a bun because these dolls are made for hair play. They're I don't know if you can see that there's like it's just like tracks of hair that are glued down to her head, and they go around. There's no putting the hair up in a bun. There's the point of the doll is for hair play. It's a black-owned company, small company, and the woman who came up with Healthy Roots, came up with Zoe first, was to teach little black girls to have a doll who looks like them and has different textured hair like them, so that they could learn how to do their own hair, because historically dolls have catered to a white demographic. So she had this really great idea and made these really beautiful sculpts, these really beautiful designs. And I didn't know that. I had only known of rooted hair at that point. So when I got my first Healthy Roots doll, I was like, what am I going to do with her? So I started looking around for 18-inch doll clothes. And obviously, I came across American Girl again. And the Courtney collection really caught my eye. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy some of these clothes. They're so cute. I love the 80s. I grew up in the 80s. So I dressed her, and I don't even remember what outfit I put her in. Oh yeah, I put her in kind of like random pieces, because that's what Courtney's collection was. And I bought more pieces, and more of Courtney's outfits, more of her mix and match pieces. And I was like, oh, she looks so cute in the other outfit, and now I have her on this outfit. Oh, Healthy Roots has released new characters. So obviously, I had to buy those characters too. So this is, I believe the designer pronounces her name as Guyana. I forget how it's spelled. If it's one N, oh, it's two N. So I think that should be Guyana then. And I actually thought she was the prettiest one of the three characters. She's got really piercing eyes. I love her two-tone lip. Um, I didn't keep her in this outfit very long. Like she ended up getting Courtney's meat outfit and other pieces, but they're all in use now. So I wasn't going to pull them all out for this video. However, this wasn't the first Guyana I bought. The first Guyana I bought, the painted lashes, because if you look, you can see they have painted lashes on the bottom, like new American Girl dolls. They were painted too low, so they looked kind of like they were falling off her, I don't want to say they're falling off her face, but they were not placed correctly. So I was like, you know what? I have the Courtney jacket and jeans, and the fitness set came with this headband. I bet you I could remove these completely, these lashes, trim them down, trim the hair, and make a boy doll. So, then I ordered the second one so that they could be like twins. It was Keon and Guyana. So he was dressed up for the longest time, in what I just said, the denim suit, and now I have an American Girl boy doll in that outfit in my collection, named Zachariah. But for the longest time, he was the one who had the Pac-Man arcade and wore that outfit and had the Pac-Man lunchbox and all that. That was actually his display for the longest time. But there's also one more character in the world, in the Healthy Roots collection. Am I going to be able to keep him in sight? Sorry, give me 1 second. I kind of want them all to be visible at this point. I made it this far, because it's only one more. He can go over here. So the final character was the doll designer, creator, pronounces her name as Marisol, but I had named her Courtney because there was so much Courtney bread and stuff in the collection. It was like Courtney's Diary, Courtney's mixtape. So I called her Courtney in my collection, and she used to sit in um, the TV room that I have set up now for a doll named Mariella, an American Girl. I want to say Truly Me 25. She's either 16 or 25. I confused them, but those were her. Those were her pieces for, I don't know, a year or two before Claudie caught my eye. And once I fell in love with Claudie, I started buying more and more of the American Girl dolls, and I started putting the Healthy Roots dolls in different American Girl outfits. He's still got well, his is all off-brand actually. But the more American Girl dolls I got, the funnier, like, because they're proportioned so differently. As I think you can see, they have bigger heads and they're smaller, like smaller body shape. Their feet are long and narrow. I'm wondering if I could bring Courtney over for a second just to compare, which is why these dolls are, let me just put her down here. These dolls don't display well with American Girl. So I moved them back to my Tiana room. And to anyone who was ever, oh, she's got her roller skates on, that's why the height's so different. So to anyone who ever was wondering about how these dolls size compared to each other size-wise, they are not a nice match. So if you, like, this isn't me holding Marisol closer to the camera. Her head really is that much bigger. And the part where I'm a bad uncle is my sister is just waiting for the day that I can give up these dolls because she would love them for my niece, the one who I guess shared my passion for Rainbow High dolls with, because my nieces they're biracial, half black, half white. So my sister's convinced that, it'd be a really good doll for her to play with. But did I not tell you how she was with her doll hair? So it's like, I just can't bring myself to let them go. And I'm training, how do I say this? I've been buying my niece other 18-inch dolls to sort of gear her up, train her up to have my Healthy Roots collection. And one day, if she still cares about them after she's calmed down, let's say, then I would happily let her have the dolls and put them on a shelf and treat them nice, because to me, they're very special. They're only available in America, but I forgot to mention is I'm in Canada, and so I would have to order them, have them delivered to an American address, drive over and get them. And obviously they're not cheap because you're paying USD. But even aside from that, there's just something so special about them that I would be crushed if they got ruined, which just sounds so ridiculous because I'm like a grown man, but I'm also a grown man who collects dolls. So this is how I got to American Girl. And it's so hard to say exactly how it happened, like what the date it was. It's just one day I looked around, I was like, oh, my entire living room is now American Girl. And everything else has been pushed either into boxes, into the closet for either selling or the ones I can't possibly part with. And some collections I've just put in storage because I know I'll never sell them, but I'll never have the room. And it's reached a point where, oh, I need to fit in more dolls. What furniture can I get rid of? But I've already done that, so that's not even that drastic. And like I said at the beginning of the video, this is a bit of a departure because I'm not really talking about American Girl, but I've talked about dolls that I've collected in other videos, and I'm always kind of beating around the bush, like, oh, I want to give them their own video because, it's a lot to talk about. And I do have a lot more Rainbow High dolls, so there may come a day that I want to share them all. I didn't even show all my customs. And so this is sort of a quick introduction into me collecting all kinds of things. And so it won't always be all American Girl all the time, but I did create this channel as an avenue, as a way to talk about my American Girl collection, because it's reached such a point that they are something that I want to talk about. And I've never wanted to create a channel for anything else I've created before. So it had me thinking, what is it about American Girl? That it took over everything. I want to talk about them on camera, which is, I have an Instagram for my other dolls, but I would never want to get in camera and talk about them. It's just something about American Girl that have become very special. So thanks again for listening to me ramble. It is, like I said, fun talking about them, and that's why I've done this. So, if anybody was ever curious about any of the dolls I have up here, how they compare to American Girl, or, oh yeah, I feel like I glossed over this about, the play sets. No, I did talk about it. Anyway, I had the dollhouse. I gave that to my niece. So don't be mad that I didn't give her the Healthy Roots dolls yet, because I've given her a lot. I've given her a lot for my Rainbow High collection that, you know, is not in the best condition anymore, because, you know, she's young and she has to be young, you know, and I want her to be young, but I don't want her destroying my dolls. Because I like to keep them pretty and put them on a shelf. So yeah, I think I'm rambling because I feel a little bad admitting that out loud, that I'm depriving my little niece from these beautiful dolls, but she'll appreciate them when she's a bit older, I think. Okay, bye this time.